You're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast on Digital Stream Radio.
Hey everyone, you're listening to the Breezy Moms podcast, a weekly show that chronicles the adventures of motherhood. I'm Candace. Now let's start the show. Hey guys.
Hey.
How
What's
are you?
going on, Miss Candace?
I'm good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We are in 2019 officially.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe it. I think I actually made my first mistake of writing 2018 still. And it's like the 6th or the 7th or whatever day.
I was at work today going through some spreadsheets and stuff, and all day long it was like 2018. I was like, that was January 3rd last year.
It's true. And to be fair, work just started. Oh, actually, it's only the 3rd.
Yeah.
Work just started. I think I started work yesterday. So today feels like the first day that I'm really in 2019 because you're working. You know, like it doesn't feel real.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's weird, right? Because I was off since New Year's Eve, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm. You mean Christmas Eve?
No, New Year's Eve.
Okay.
No, actually, I was off the day before. So I took New Year's Eve off from work. So I was literally off all the way through like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
No, I've been off since Friday before Christmas.
A lot of running around. And, I'm super pissed because it's like you still have about another 363 days left till Christmas, and people already have Christmas lights on and out.
What? You mean for next year? Wait, what are you talking about?
It's like the people that haven't taken them off, I just like to look at it like they're like super early, like 366 days early. Like,
That's
stop
too
it.
Much. That's too much.
Like, put them away. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so this year I put up my Christmas stuff the day after Thanksgiving, and I took them down like 2 days after Christmas. And it was because I knew that I was doing some traveling and that I was going to get back right before work started. And I didn't want to go into the new work year, the new year with the big job of having to put away all of the Christmas stuff. So it's been down for a while, and I've heard from some friends that it was too early, but since I had it up since Thanksgiving, it was a good solid month, and I'm good with it.
Typically, we like in the Latino community, we leave it up to like
King's Day,
King's Day, because the day after we start taking stuff down.
Makes sense.
But sometimes if you have like a real tree, for example, it won't make it.
Right.
Till then. So you have no choice but to, throw that tree out because a dry tree and lights is just not pretty.
Yeah, and it's going to set your whole house on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I invested in a artificial tree like 5 years ago when they said, the popular they said artificial is better than killing the environment and killing trees. And all of a sudden they're now saying, oh, but the carbon footprint of making artificial trees is worse than killing a single tree. And I was like, listen, pick a lane and stick to it. I already have this tree now. What am I supposed to do? I can't follow you guys if you're going to be going back and forth. Like, decide, and then I will get rid of. But the other thing I've sort of been thinking about, and I don't want to go too far down this lane, is I would like to be more green and you do more reusable things. But if you just now are deciding that in the new year, it's like your resolution, you're going to be less wasteful, you're going to be more green, that sort of thing. You already have a bunch of stuff that quote unquote is wrong. Right. And it doesn't make any sense to dump all of that stuff in the garbage just to go out and buy high-priced, green, reusable things. So,
but like, for example, let's say, you used a real tree for Christmas and now Christmas is done. That time period right after Christmas is the best time to go and invest, for example, in an artificial tree because they're inexpensive, they're super cheap, and they'll last you, a good, half a decade if you use it and do it right, if you pack them right. But it's you can find a lot of stuff. I know. Instead of killing trees, you can buy a fake one that you can reuse for like 5 times. That's 6 or 7.
That's what I think. It's just I'm saying that now they're coming out and saying that an artificial tree is worse than a real tree. So this is what I'm saying. It's like you damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So I mean, at this point, it's like I look at it this way. I saved the earth from plastic for 5 straight years by using this tree as opposed to cutting a real one. It's true. It's true. So but anyway, that's how I'm feeling about the Christmas season. Like Christmas is over, the holidays is over, and I'm back to work. And it's interesting, especially because I work in my house. So it really doesn't, there's no real clear end of one thing and beginning of another thing, but I'm super excited for 2019. We've got a lot going on tonight.
We do. We're going to diving into
let's just dive in.
So
the first thing is we are live on
that is correct.
Facebook Live, and forgive me if you are watching it. I always have a hard time remembering where to look because I talk to you because I can see you. I got to remember to talk to the people, right? Lincoln calls them the people. So we are on Facebook Live on the Breezy Mom podcast page. And if you have tuned into, and that's Breezy Mom's podcast. Mm-hmm. So like / Breezy Mom podcast. And then if you have already tuned in and you can see us, you'll see we have a guest in studio. Right. My good friend Ebony is here.
Hello.
Hello. So wave at the people, Ebony.
Hi, people.
So she's here to join us. I have been super excited to talk with her, and we are going to dive in a little bit later about keeping it spicy and saucy in the relationship, like in your marriage, instead of letting it die down as so many, I'm going to say of us do. Just because I've known.
It should be interesting.
It should be. It's going to be fun.
Well, more so because of the dynamics of what's going on in the studio,
I know, especially because Boobie's
in the back over there sitting on the sofa. So this should be very interesting. I'm actually going to enjoy this.
Watching in real time. And feel free, Demetrius, if you ever want to chime in.
All you have to do is just do the electric slide and slide to the other side of the sofa, and people will be able to see you on Facebook
Slide
Live.
into the frame.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. So I just want to jump in so that we can get to that quickly.
All right. So let me ask you, Candace.
I'm listening.
How are your boys?
The boys are great. As usual, the boys are good. We are getting back into routine. It's it's 2 days of being back at work / school, and the last week has been pretty eventful for us. We went to Great Wolf Lodge, which I think the last time we recorded, I said we were going. Mm-hmm. So we went for Christmas. We were there Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and that was super fun. If you get a chance to go to this lodge place, which is an indoor water park, or any kind of indoor water park, I think they're probably all equally exciting. And my favorite part is, one, being able to pull out bathing suits in the winter, and two, being able to park your car and not have to get into it again.
And there's so many things that you can do in the lodge.
Right,
Adult
that's
things,
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Things.
We totally packed a cooler. James was like your typical old immigrant dad with he had lamb. He was like, "Oh, you want some meatballs?" It's like, you can buy that pizza if you want. When we get to the room, I got lamb and black beans. I got rice. I got meatballs. So, you can really supplement what you're doing we had, booze for days. We had all kinds of stuff to make it fun for everybody. And,
that's my kind of party. You have to have the booze.
It was super fun. And then because it's indoor and it's a water park, there's no sand. Because I always feel like to get that sort of water excitement, you have to go to the beach, and I can't handle the sand. It drives me nuts. So having all of the water fun with none of the sand cleanup was just my favorite part.
That's awesome. And the kids, I'm sure, enjoyed it.
The kids loved it. And Lincoln is 4.5, but he's as big as a 7-year-old. So he was able to go on all of the slides,
nice.
3 of the 4 big slides, and do all of the things that maybe typical 4-year-olds can't get to do.
Poor Emery.
I know, poor Emery. But Emery didn't care about any of that stuff. He was quite happy, sort of wading in the water. And I think it was really his first real experience in water for such a long period of time, and really getting accustomed to being in the water. So I think it was good for him to start out slowly, but you have to watch him because of his personality and the way he is. You turn your back and he runs straight into the water.
Yeah.
We're just like, I thought you were scared. I'm not scared.
Yeah.
I'm not scared.
Only for the first 5 minutes.
Right. So that was great. We came back home for a few days, and then we packed up and went to Philly for the New Year's weekend. And that was super fun. I think Philly from my house, it clocks at about 3.5 hours on GPS, but it was really closer to 6. And I think that's because of the time we left.
Which way did you go?
I know, we went through New York, and we really should not have.
3 hours. Well, did you hit traffic?
So much traffic trying to get through the Bronx. So much traffic. I really wish I had gone over the Tappan Zee Bridge, and it might have been distance wise a little longer, but it probably would have been
Saved
a
you
whole
lot of
hour
time.
shorter.
Yeah, because I'm actually going to DC on the weekend of the 21st.
Okay. And do you go through?
Well, typically we go through the city,
yeah.
take 95 south.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have traffic, I'm definitely taking the Tappan Zee.
Yeah, I think it matters a whole lot, and especially with kids in the car. We stopped once we were in New Jersey.
Listen, when you're in traffic for that long, there's nothing better. Like Maxine says, reclaim my time. Screw this traffic. I'm running around. I'm going to go through and cut all that out. And in the process, I'll probably find a couple of joints to hit up for a nice little shot here and there.
So real.
Like, seriously.
Yeah. So it was good. It was, I hadn't been to Philly in a long time. And then
Did you have a Philly cheesesteak?
I did, but we did.
Where did you go?
Listen, we did not, we just were impulsive because we have the kids and you just like fit it all in. And I'm ashamed to say that we got a cheesesteak from a place called Joe's Pizza. We just really should not have done that.
So I had been down to
pizza.
Philly before, and so we did the typical thing. We went to Gino's or we went to Pat's, and we were sort of kind of like in the middle of the street because they're really right across the street from each other, trying to figure out, all right, who do we go to? So we went to both.
Oh, that's nice. My friends went, but when they went, I had the kids. So I went to meet friends from high school, which is cool because I went to boarding school. My friends are all over the place, and so we can just pick a place to meet, right?
She was a naughty girl. They sent her to boarding school.
First of all, that is the misnomer of boarding school, but we won't go down that road. Anyway, we picked a place, and it was Philly because everybody's coming in from everywhere, but because my kids are older, it's like if you have a baby, like an infant, it's easy to just sort of like tote them around with you wherever you're going. But if you have toddlers and preschoolers, you have to manage spending enough time with them so that they, like if I go somewhere and I don't dedicate some time to them, they literally run into the wall. Like Lincoln will actually run into the wall. Like physically hit his head, not figuratively, just like actually he's running so hard he runs into the wall. So I made sure that on the first day we went to the zoo, and we spent like 4 hours at the zoo outside in the cold, like get it out, just run and do whatever it is that you want. He was climbing on ropes, all kinds of stuff. And then the second day we did the Please Touch Museum, which is really awesome. It's a children's kind of like a sciencey type museum. Maybe that's not the right term, but it encourages kids to touch all the things, right? It's interactive as opposed to like behind the rope. You can't. Like, you have to look with your eyes and don't touch, that sort of thing. And they had a countdown to noon. So, like, ball drop, confetti, all kinds of thing at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was like, why don't we do this shit? I'm exhausted at 11:45. Like, I legit, when it was adult New Year's Eve, I was peeling my eyes open trying to stay awake at 11:45 p.m. And countdown to noon is just way more awesome.
I was wasted.
Since noon?
Wasted.
Like, from noon on?
No, at the bar. I mean, I ended up, Nick, which is my co-host on our show, ended up coming over and we were just, hanging out. We ended up going, he was working that night. So instead of me driving to the bar, I drove in with him and then I took an Uber back home.
Nice.
I had to because I couldn't even see straight. Yeah. So
that's great.
But it was fun. We had a good time.
Good.
But what I was going to tell you when I was in Philly, so we went to both.
Okay.
It was 4 of us. So 2 of us went to Gino's and 2 of us went to Pat's, and then we just split the sandwiches. And
that's a good idea. And then what was your takeaway?
I found them both to be sort of pretty similar. I think that the cheese sauce at Pat's was better.
Okay.
But then when we came back from DC, we do have the Idiots Radio, which is based right out of Camden. So on our way up, we stopped there, which is right across the bridge from Philly. And we were talking. We were in the studio. He goes like, don't go to Gino's. Don't go to Pat's. Go to this place. And he sent us over to this place, this little hole in the wall on the side of the highway.
Those are the better places.
And when we got out and we had the cheesesteak, we were just like fat boys.
Yeah.
We were just sitting there gorging. It was amazing.
I love it.
And I can't remember what the name was. I'm going to have to reach out to the boys.
It's always the place that doesn't have a website.
Yep.
Doesn't have, you just either know it or you don't. There's no place to sit down. You just like stand at a window. Those are the joints that are really, that's where it's at.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
I did go to Reading Market and I had a pastrami sandwich. I had corned beef. I always confuse corned beef and pastrami. So I had a corned beef sandwich and that was good. I don't know who those people are or what it's called, but that shit was amazing. It's the kind of sandwich that you can't bite top to bottom at the same time. It's like bite the bottom, then bite the top. Yeah, it was incredible. So I would
making me hungry.
I would say try a corned beef sandwich, at least in addition to looking for a spot to get a Philly cheesesteak. But
so Ebony, let me ask you:
awesome.
Have you been to Philly?
Mm-hmm.
Have you enjoyed a steak from Philly? Your thoughts?
It was a while ago. I was there on business, and it was a truck, and it was Philly cheesesteak something.
Yeah,
and we had a really messy, juicy,
That's how
sloppy,
it is.
slimy.
That's the best kind.
Philly cheesesteak.
that's how I knew ours was no good because there was
And I was all
nothing.
set.
There was nothing running down the back of my hand. I was like, this. I could have done this.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was all
That's
set.
why we have City.
Sorry.
So we're having Rose in studio. And by the way, we did mention that we are on Facebook Live. So there's a couple of people that mentioned or said hello on here.
Hey.
So hello to Cherie, Demetrius,
Hi, Cherie.
and Xiomara. Xiomara's saying, Ebony.
Hi, Boo.
So
Is that Xiomara from school?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Xiomara.
so it's Xiomara. See, I said it in Spanish. Sorry.
She probably says that too, but I don't have it.
So-
I just call her Z. Okay.
So, forgive us. We get lost in our conversation. So if we forget to sort of kind of look down and say hey or pick up on a question, we'll try to, stay on top of that. Or at least I'll try to keep them on there.
Right.
So, sorry, go ahead.
And then the last thing is, what'd you do for New Year's, Ebony?
Yeah.
We went out,
Okay.
and we usually don't.
Okay.
We usually have a party in our house, sometimes with each other.
Those are the best. Those are the best.
But this time we were like, we haven't been out in like 5 years or something like that. So we went out, and it was fun.
Did you do like
a
whole
club or a bar?
Mm-hmm. A DJ of ours. Well, a DJ that we know we call him ours.
Yeah.
We think he's ours, but he's not. But anyway, he was DJing somewhere local, so we went to hang out with him, and it was fabulous.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will say again, we're gonna move on from this, but we bought tickets for this Countdown to Noon thing, and it was $100. I mean, we're a family of 4, but I was still like, this is a kid event, right? Like, it felt like paying for adult prices. And when we got in there, kids were crazy. Like, I mean, it was insane. And then the confetti came down. First of all, Lincoln was not into it for a while because he was like, I don't care about New Year's. What is that? And then when the confetti came down and he was on James's shoulders, all the kids, they just like lost their mind. It was basically like Times Square
That's typically what happens when confetti comes down. Kids just lose it.
They just lost it. And the other thing that I just want to shout out, I mean, these people will never hear this, but we were in the museum and there were so many parents that I saw that were on crutches or had an arm in a sling or just in one way or the other looked like they should have been in their house, but they were making it happen anyway. And so I just wanted to give like a shout out to parents who just sort of push through for their kids all the time, and definitely in these moments where it felt to me like these kids don't care about New Year's. They don't know what's going on from like Tuesday to Monday. They don't care. But we know that it's an experience, especially depending on how old your kid is, and you want to provide your kid with these kinds of memories and experiences, whether it's local or that you've gone out of town. And I just know that there's so many times where you're just like, fuck it. Like, I'm so tired. Go, like, let's just stay home. And the kind of dig deep
I don't know though
that it takes as a parent to do it
if
is
they've got
real.
Elbows, cast on crutches and all. I think they brought their kids out. So they'd be like, here, you go break somebody else's arm and legs because I'm dealing with you on New Year's Eve. Kids running around trying to kill their parents. Not on purpose, but
I hear you, but you don't have kids. So it's a little bit different. It's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of that. But there are also parents that I know who are like have a foot in a boot or something and literally cannot and would love to be able to, but like they can't stand for more than 5 minutes without crazy pain. You know what I mean? Like, and so parents have to make this. You don't want to kill yourself, but you're willing to. And I just was struck by how many parents I saw out there. Like, I didn't really want to be there, and I was fully abled. You know what I mean? Because there's so many kids running around and kids are running into you, like kids that don't belong to you and all of that stuff. It just struck me to see so many people out with kids on this day, and I was super proud to be a part of this community and to know that there are parents out there who are like pushing through. So anyway, shout out to fab ass parents.
That's awesome.
And last thing, and that mom who helped me stop Emery, who ran away from me when I said it was time to go. I was like, Emery, it's time to put on your coat. It's time to go. And he just turned around and booked it in the opposite direction. And I didn't know it was happening. So when you get like a false start and you kind of like, and you have a bag in this hand and a bag in this other hand. And this mom just saw what was happening and she just went, and it was just enough. It was like super mom solidarity that was just, she didn't stop him, but it was just enough to delay him so I could catch up before he ran out.
But you caught him though.
I did catch him. I did catch him. But earlier it was hard. He ran, we were waiting to pay and he just ran under all of the ropes straight through. And I was like, you're going to get tackled by security. We didn't pay yet. So anyway, I was just feeling some way about the parent community, and I just wanted to shout them out.
Kids will definitely be kids. They do the darndest things, but, they're so cute. It's like you can't get mad at them for too long.
Especially Emery.
I know.
Emery. Okay, so let's jump in.
Let's
jump in. So, everybody, it's Ebony. We told you that. Ebony, why don't you kick off by telling us a little bit about you, where you're from, a little bit about your family, and then we'll go from there.
Well, my name is Ebony.
Yes.
I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut, born and raised. We just recently bought a house elsewhere. But we do everything in Bridgeport. All of our family and friends mostly are in Bridgeport. So it's kind of like we still live there. I have a beautiful, amazing superhero for a husband.
Hey.
Who's here? In studio. Hold on, let me see. Go ahead, do that now. See? You see him all the way in the corner.
There he is. As per usual. Everybody who knows us know we kind of travel together. Most of the time. We have 5.5 or 4.5 children.
Explain.
One of them is dog?
No, Foxy is the queen of the world. Okay. So everybody knows.
My kids are children.
Yeah. Our baby Foxy runs the world. But I have 2, a girl and a boy. And my husband has 2, a girl and a boy. And then we have Cavalli, who is our 9-year-old, who will soon be 10. And we've been helping to take care of him since he was 3. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So
how French?
Quite a big family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. And you guys bought your first home, and
together.
I'm assuming it's a very big home because you've got,
It's a pretty. I mean, usually when people come in, they say, "Wow, it's big in here." We don't feel that way though.
Well, I mean, you have the queen, you've got the kids, the parents.
Yeah.
So
everybody has their own space, and nobody is on top of anyone, so, and then we have free spaces when other people want to come over to get away from their lives. Yes. So I guess it's big enough.
And you got the pool. It's a pool party over there.
We have so that's an in-ground pool and a pond, which is very beautiful. It has the most amazing lilies and a beautiful peach tree that I named Georgia after my grandmother.
Nice.
So, and we had a little pool shed, which is a she shed.
Oh,
so that's dope.
I almost burned mine down. Just saying.
That's dope. That's like, my space.
So I'll tell you very quickly. So shortly before the end of summer, like around fall, I went out to the shed and I was putting on these solar lights that I bought so that when my dogs are back there, the lights can come on and I can see them. And I saw this massive spider. And one of my friends had loaned me
burn it down.
He loaned me a not a masonry saw, a concrete saw, a wet saw. And he gave me the mixture of the gas. So I saw that huge spider. Mind you, I'm terrified of spiders. So I went and I sprinkled a little bit of gas on it and lit it up. And I lit up my she shed. So I had to run. So mind you, the back of my house goes down a little hill. I had to run all the way up, come get the fire extinguisher from the kitchen and go put that shit.
Why didn't they make the commercial out of that?
Right?
I'm dying.
Like that commercial has nothing up on the State Farm one.
But that spider is gone. And if you've ever seen a gay boy queening out, going down the hill and back up, it wasn't pretty. And my dogs are just like barking at me like, what's wrong with you?
I can imagine.
But I did. But anyway, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you're talking about it sounds like a nice Oasis came to mind because I've seen pictures of it. But it's important to have a place that you call home that feels really good and cozy, and people are drawn to it. And when people leave, you're able to relax and,
absolutely
center yourself. So that's cool.
I enjoy entertaining, and I enjoy helping my family and friends to feel good, about themselves, about their situation, or if there's something going on, I like to be the person or the place that they come to kind of relax. And so, I will feed you, I will give you fruit, we always have drinks, and a place to just lay down and go to sleep if that's what you need. If you want company, we give you company. If you want to be left alone, we leave you alone. But everybody always leaves feeling better. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's good. I mean, that's a good feeling to have. So you bought this house how long ago?
About 5 years ago almost.
Oh, nice. So you've had time to really play with it and sort of kind of make it your own.
It's always something going on. I just got my bathroom redone. We did the pool over. Now I'm doing a wardrobe room for myself.
Ooh,
nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're here to talk about, and I don't want to get too far away from it because I'm super excited about this conversation. To talk about relationship and marriage and how to keep it exciting. And the reason, I will say before I launch into my list of questions, the reason why when I was thinking about this topic, you came to mind, you posted a picture the other day. I don't know if it's your birthday or Dee's
my
birthday,
husband's.
Somebody's birthday. And there was a picture of you looking seriously like Jessica Rabbit. And then, but my favorite part, it was super amazing, right? And you're beautiful and it's awesome.
Thank you, Candy.
But the better part of it was the picture that your husband posted the next day as the morning after picture with a wig thrown across a lampshade. Okay. And I was like, bet, that's who we're going to talk to. Because I need some of that in my life, right? So let's start by talking about how you and your husband met, and then we can sort of launch into how you guys continue to have fun.
Well, we've known each other our entire lives, just about since we were really young kids. Our families are really close, so scary close, So we've known each other forever. My husband is a little bit younger than me, and nobody believes that. Everybody thinks I'm younger than him. It's so weird, but he's a little bit younger than me, so I obviously wasn't interested ever.
A little bit, a couple months or a couple years?
A couple years.
Oh, fancy.
Mm-hmm. So, I've always had love for him as a friend. We went to the same high school. So we were friends in high school and we had love for each other in high school.
Anyway, you're like, that's my brother's friend. Why would I ever?
Right. Actually, I was like, they're over there, so I'm going the other way. Okay, because they traveled in a pack and they were nuts. So, so yeah, that's how it was. And when we went out, we always made sure y'all okay, that kind of thing. But it was never anything romantic or anything that ever crossed my mind to be with him or anything. So I went out one night reluctantly.
That's usually how it happens.
Yeah. And I gave everybody hugs because everybody knows everybody, and he kind of held me.
Ooh.
And I was like, you act like you've been waiting for me all night. And he was like, I have. And I was like, okay, whatever. He's being a weirdo.
It sounds like a Hugh Grant line. I've been waiting for you all night.
So he asked me what I was drinking, and I don't drink alcohol. So I said cranberry juice with a little bit of pineapple and orange.
Fancy.
And
nice. It's like a mattress with no alcohol.
Exactly. So, because I imagine I'm drunk. Anyway, so he goes to the bar and he gets it and he brings it back, and I go on my little patent leather red purse to give him the money, and he was like, don't ever do that.
Ooh.
And I was like, well, wait a minute, did you guys buy the bar? What's up? And he was like, no, don't, just, you're all set. And so we were talking, and a few of us, and the guys were coming over trying to talk to me. And
rude.
And he was like, no, she's all set.
Right.
And I was looking at him like, what is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying?
He was taking his shot, okay?
I thought he was drunk. I was like, he is drunk. So, towards the end.
So he was hitting on you, and you thought all along because you've known him for a long time.
That he was
just chilling.
And maybe he was just a little too loose that night, you know? So he, towards the end of the night, he asked me for my phone number. I thought it was weird, but I gave it to him because he's my friend and I didn't want to like treat him badly. So I gave him the number. We left. I called him because I have facial expressions that are like,
can't be helped.
Sometimes they're not tamed, and I wasn't sure if I was making those facial expressions, and I didn't want my friend to feel bad, so I called him and he didn't pick up. So the next day he called me and he was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I missed your call. Oh my God." He was freaking out. I was like, "Dude, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure that we were good."
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, we're good." So he asked me out every day of the week. And I was turning him down. I was like, "Listen, I work 12-hour days. I'm all set. Let's just get up when everybody else gets up like normally."
He's like, "No, that's not what I'm talking about."
Right. So finally I said, "Okay, fine. I get out at 9, come pick me up." And he tried to rent out an entire pool hall for us. And I was like, "Listen, we're not going to do this. We're just going to hang out. Wherever we end up, we end up." So he picks me up. I'm wearing his favorite color, which is all red. And I didn't know at the time. He's wearing my favorite color, which was all blue, which is really weird. He opens the door for me. We go on a ride. We end up at a diner in Milford. We call it Uno. That's not the name of it.
I'm sorry, diner food is the best.
It's hysterical.
Most love stories start or end around a diner.
Tom's, somebody. Right. But this one we call Uno, okay?
As long as it's not Cody's, I think we're good.
He opened the door for me there. We went inside. I was still feeling like this is not a date. I refuse to let this be a date. And I looked at the menu, and then I looked up at him, and I fell in love immediately.
Oh, my.
Instantly.
Nice. So all it took... Do you hear
was
that, fellas?
Diner food?
Bring them to the diner.
The food wasn't even there yet.
Don't bring them to that expensive Italian place. Just bring them to the diner. Like, seriously.
Just a ride, get to know each other a little bit. And it was instant.
That was it.
That was it.
That was it. Okay, so from there, how long was it before you guys got married?
Oh, he proposed.
It was like 3 days.
He proposed in Miami.
Nice.
And I mean, he was really old fashioned with it. We got there and he scared the hell out of me because he jumped off the bed and got on his knee. And I was like, "What is happening to you? What are you doing?" But he had asked my uncle and my brother and like told them he was going to ask, me to marry him. And I couldn't believe he did all of that without me knowing. But it was June. We started dating in April.
Like months.
We started dating.
Oh my God.
As a matter of fact, we started dating April 25th. And he moved in September of that same year. And then the next year, June, he proposed.
Wow.
But if you ask him, he says first of all, I guess he always had this crush, which I never paid attention to.
Right.
And so when I was available and he was available, he said that he just went after what he wanted. So he already knew that this is what he wanted. So he went after it.
That's amazing. So it was less than a year.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's one of those stories. And so your relationship started like sort of from this long-term knowing each other and then sort of like on a fast track.
Yeah.
Right? And then how long have you been married so far to now?
Babe, how long have we been married? 6 years. 6 years. I know. No, I don't. I suck at it. He gets mad.
I can't.
It's usually the guy, but I'm like, I don't remember.
But it's so funny because I asked you that question, but I think I knew because I think we got married the same year.
Oh yeah.
And I just
no,
in my
I
head.
always forget. It's so bad. It's so bad.
I always have to do the math.
Yeah. No. 6 years.
Awesome. Okay. So has your relationship, tell me a little bit about, so we hear a little bit about how you got.
I'm gonna try to do better.
Right. So that's a little bit about how you guys got together, which sounds, I mean, it sounds fun and it sounds whirlwind. Would you characterize your relationship as it keeps going, sort of always on that level, sort of always fun, always whirlwind? And if not, do you work really hard to keep it that way?
Nope.
Okay.
It's so listen, we hear the stories about people working really hard to do whatever, but no, it's very natural with us. We're natural individuals. I think we're just who we are individually. So together, we're who we are together.
And has your relationship evolved over the last 6 years plus the, almost a year it took for you guys to get 9 months or so for you guys to get together? How has your relationship evolved over that time?
I think it's been pretty consistent.
Okay.
But it's evolved in a matter of every time we go through something individually or as a couple, it always helps us to appreciate each other more. So it just brings us closer together as friends and as husband and wife, as a partnership. So it doesn't matter what it is either. It can be something really, really awesome or something really, really awful. But at the end of the day, we always end up even closer than we were before it started. So I guess if it is evolving, we're evolving closer together.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, James and I had this moment the other day where we laughed over some like stupid joke that I made, and then he tried to tell someone else the joke and they didn't get it, and he was offended. He was like, "Yo, but that was funny." I was like, "Dude, it's just us. Like, it's just
it's us against the world."
Right,
so.
right. But that was a moment where I realized, I was like, "Oh, we've hit a milestone. Like we've gotten to this place where it's us and people, it's like a language, right? It's like a thing that you guys have going now that other people enjoy watching but really can't quite understand." Right. Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about this most recent birthday extravaganza, because like I think about, like, I don't know if you would say the way to keep things sort of hot and spicy is to go on extravagant trips and like pretend to be another person, or like like role play. I don't know if that's exactly that's what it looks like to me, but I also know you, and I feel like it's just part of your persona to like have a different wig on Tuesday,
because you know me,
right?
So
like
you're cheating.
It's like, this is Tuesday's wig, and this is who I am on Tuesday. But why don't
She knows me. She's cheating.
Tell us a little bit about this most recent birthday extravaganza, and a little bit about maybe how I imagine you planned this excitement and what that looked like.
It never starts out as an extravaganza in my head. It's so funny. Like, not to be off topic, but I was having this birthday party one year for myself, and I said, I'm inviting 12 people.
Is that the birthday party with the like bank wrap? You guys were like Bonnie and Clyde?
No, let me tell you, I thought 50 people was coming to that.
Oh my God.
It was like dangerously past capacity.
It's like fire marshal.
And I mean, it was just insane. So at that point, it was like, I think everything I do is kind of gonna not be small.
Right.
So, but no, he made me promise not to do anything too extravagant this year for his birthday. So to me, it was not extravagant. But red is his favorite color, like I said. So I did buy the outfit a while ago, like months ago, and I just never, the opportunity that I had to wear it, something came up, so I never got a chance to wear it, and I just kept it as a surprise. So I felt like this birthday, he's going, because now he remembers that I told him I bought him something so long ago, but he never saw it. So my friends and my family adores him as well, and my friends were like hiding birthday gifts in closets for him. And I mean, he's just such an awesome guy, and to show their appreciation for just how he treats them. And so we did plan to like give him this awesome suite and take him to Michael Jordan's restaurant. And, you know,
where were you guys?
We went to Mohegan this time.
Local. Okay.
He wouldn't let me take him anywhere. So
Mohegan is cool. I just went for the first time.
Mohegan is our second home.
Mm-hmm.
We go a lot with my sister. So, you know, we bought him gifts and everything and took him to eat and all of that was the birthday, but he still had no idea that I had this trick up my sleeve.
It's a trick.
She's got the suit.
It was a liquid leather trick.
So he's, you know, laid out, getting ready for dinner, and I'm laying there, and he's like, well, you know, we got to get dressed. And I'm like, I got this. You know, listen, I got this. So I go into the bathroom and put everything on in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And when I walked out the bathroom,
he fell off the bed.
His reaction was better than I imagined.
Wow.
He was flabbergasted. He was like he couldn't get himself together. So, you know, I'm sashaying around the room like, see, I told you.
Real Jessica Rabbit style.
I told you. And so we get out in the hallway, and he's doing a photo shoot, and he's shooting videos, and that's how the video got posted to the site. But
can we post that so that
I don't
people
mind
see?
at all. I don't mind. We don't mind.
I want to see the video.
I know you do. You do. I'm telling you, you do.
Okay, you mentioned Jessica Rabbit. Hotel.
He was definitely Roger Rabbit.
Sassy. and she was sashaying. I want to see this video.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
It's got quite a bit of views right now, but it's
I was
humble
walking
brag.
out the bathroom.
If I could sing.
There's my husband on the bed. Hey, Daddy, look what I got. And she's dressed all up in red.
I can dig that.
Oh, my God.
But the funniest thing is, we got in the elevator, came all the way down. Okay, so you know where I'm going with this. We were in the lobby walking to the restaurant, and I kid you not, it was a beautiful lady. She was dolled up. You know, she had her little dress on and her heels, holding, I don't know, husband, sidekick, somebody's hand, and she fell flat on her face.
Oh my God.
Stop.
On all fours, guys.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but you know, it's like when people fall, my first reaction is to laugh hysterically and then run over and be like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, well,
but
we didn't
still
get
be
that
laughing.
far.
I'm sorry.
We were already holding hands, so we just kind of squeezed each other's hand like, OMG. We were so embarrassed for her, and the guy was trying to pick her up, but he was looking at us like, I'm so sorry. It was hysterical. My husband looked at me and said, I can't take you no more. You got people falling
out. It's like that episode that is it Desperado with Selma Hayek? And she like walks across the street and the cars crash?
Yeah. That's what it was.
Okay, got it.
What it was. And then when we got into the restaurant, a man proposed to me.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he said,
he's like, bruh, I'm standing right here.
It was hysterical. First, they leaned over in our booth and they were like, okay, so who are you guys?
Right.
Because obviously
you must be somebody.
You're celebrities. And so I said, we get that all the time. We were in Miami, like getting followed around at one point.
God.
And I said, but we're just ordinary Joes, ordinary people. And he was like, no way. So then he says to my husband, no disrespect, but will you marry me?
No disrespect.
She
Let
knows.
me show you no disrespect.
So then I said
and his wife was like, sister wife, come on, I'm into it.
No, it was him and his pal. Okay,
it was him and his friend.
But he says,
this wouldn't happen to be the one that fell down, right?
No,
Okay.
we left those poor people in the ambulance, but we said to him. He says, well, I'm telling you, it's you. He was like, you're like fabulous. And I said, thank you so much. So then I said, well, I believe that a woman should be her man's accessory. Like how we wear our bags on our arms and, things to look fabulous. Women make their men look better, period. And he said, wait a minute, let me grab my phone so I can call my wife. He was like, oh my God. So that was his night. And, that's how it happened.
Okay, well, let's. I like that. I mean, I'm not sure if I like that line because sometimes I don't brush my teeth, but like sometimes life happens to the rest of us mere mortals. Can't always be accessories all the time. But let's linger there for a little bit. Tell us a little bit more about what that means to you and how you arrived at that. Because I'm gonna say on face value, that doesn't sound like 21st century woman, right? Like I'm gonna do my thing. You can stand here next to me, but I'm cool. You're cool. Like we're both rolling at our own speed, and it sounds a little bit.
Old school.
When I hear that, it sounds a little bit old school, and my first reaction was, wait, we like marched to get to not be accessories,
marched our heels off.
I didn't march, but I think somebody marched. So I'm trying to figure out because, but then I also sort of clicked with it a little bit. So I'm having a little bit of cognitive dissonance with the statement, clicked. And I wanna learn more so I can really.
I think you clicked because it goes both ways.
Okay.
It's not a one-way street. Nothing with a partner is a one-way street.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm his accessory, but he's also my accessory.
Oh, okay,
so,
that makes sense to me now.
I mean, he looks good, I look good, so we look
People
good
looking
together.
at both of us.
That's how it goes. I mean, have you seen that smile?
Yes.
Have you seen those eyes?
Yes.
So, yes, he gets just as much attention as I do. I mean, I give him a lot of attention because I think he's just amazing in every way. So he gets just as much attention as I do.
And so how did you come to this? Have you always felt this way? Have you tell me a little bit about how you've sort of arrived at this. We are going to make both each other look good, but I own my responsibility to make you look good and to make other people wish they were you, which is what I'm thinking people were feeling on that night.
I guess I grew up. I mean, it's not a kind of arrival kind of thing or an epiphany. It's just your mindset and how you feel about yourself and your mate. So, I mean, it's not, I'm going to make you look good. You're going to make me look good. It's, I look good and you look good. You know what I mean? So, I think that it comes from just who you are as a person. And, I love being a woman, but I love being a girl. So I think that when you have that, that's the ticket. You know what I'm saying? And it's a perk for whoever you're with.
What does being a girl mean to you?
Being a girl to me means being fearless, being smart, being talented, being creative, being free in every way. Being a girl to me means being free in every way. Okay. I mean, wearing whatever you want, doing women are not whatever free, you want.
Right? You got bills to pay. You got
I mean, yes, real. That's real life for everybody. But to me, life is what you make it. Literally, we don't always live that way, but that's really the truth about it. Things are going to happen to you, but how you react to them is how they're going to affect you. So it's the same way in a relationship when you look at yourself. It's not about being sexy by putting on a plastic red dress. It's about being sexy in your mindset, and that will help you keep yourself a certain way because you're going to keep yourself to how it makes you happy. It's not the plastic red dress. If I would have put on a red sweatsuit with some red huaraches, it would have been the same effect just about because my sexy is it radiates. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
I feel it. And I'm sitting right here.
And you don't even like it.
Listen, I'm strictly dickly just like her, but I'm feeling that radiation. I'm just saying,
And I think that's for every woman. And just because we're on that topic, a lot of women, women can't help but to match themselves up with other people, other women, whether it's, the Louis bag or the shoes or the wig or the whatever, the eyebrows. I mean, all types of things are going on now. And I think that we're getting away from the fact that beauty comes from within, but it holds true. It's been that way forever. And I think that it's always going to be that way, no matter what you're taping on or gluing on or whatever, it still starts from inside. And I think when you have that individually, it rolls over into your romance, you know, and you also got to know what your mate likes, you know what I mean, what they don't like. And I think that my husband enjoys that free part of me, and I think that he likes the fact that sometimes he doesn't know what or who he's gonna get.
Once you walk out that door, walk out the
Once
bathroom,
I come
be like,
out the
"Hey,
bathroom."
baby."
He's like, hey, baby.
So let me ask you. So, are these conversations right? Because you talk about the things that you don't like and the things that you like, and that you have to know what those are. Are these conversations that you guys have when you're like sitting early in the morning, looking all hit, you know, having a cup of coffee, and say, "Hey, babe, you know, what did you think about what I had on last night?" Do you have those honest conversations
Let me
to say
tell
to
you,
each other what you do and do not like?
we talk about everything. Like, I'm his homie lover friend. He's my homie lover friend. We talk about everything. And one of the things that, you know, we talk about is being attractive to somebody, or people being attracted to you. We do not live in a world with ugly people. Everybody's not ugly, you know. And one of the things that we established early on, it's okay to look. People are going to look at us. We're going to notice other people. Staring is crossing the line. You know what I mean? So, and you know, even like Marsha Ambrosia is a woman that my husband thinks is so beautiful. And I'm like, oh babe, there's your girl, you know. And so it's you know, you just gotta live and let live, as long as there's no lines crossed or no disrespect. And the conversations that we have are open like that. We speak as friends. You cannot have a relationship of any sort without a friendship. So we feed our friendship, and when we do grow, because people change, we like to see what we're up on now. So we talk about everything. We also talk about other people's relationships. Well, what do you think about what's going on there? How do you feel about that? And we're open with it, so that we're always aware of what's going on with each other, individually, together, and even the people who affect our lives. So yes, we're very, very open.
Which is important. I think it's a beautiful thing to have, to be able to sit with your friend and talk about things that happen, one, as they happen or as they have happened. Like, let's say, for example, you know he loves red, but let's say that dress, he may have found it a little revealing. And then once the night was over, the next day you sit down over coffee and scrambled eggs and say, hey, babe, you know, that dress looked amazing, but I think that should have been amazing for me.
He definitely would have said that. If he felt that way, absolutely.
Which is good.
And I would have said, note taken. Period. We don't have, listen, life is too short. We don't sweat the small stuff. And I'm actually glad, though, because, you know, in my past life, I was in entertainment, and I did music and photo shoots, and I modeled and did all of that stuff. So, you know, coming to the table, you have to know who you're getting. You know, even if you're going fast, you still have to know who you're getting. You know what I'm saying? So I was happy that I found a man who loved me, loved me for my, you know, little bit of celebrity that I may have had or whatever. He wasn't intimidated by it, which is the reason why I was able to move forward with him and comfortable enough to move forward with him. I have frightened many men. I mean, I did a show one time, and a guy I was talking to came to the show, and when I got off stage, he was like, I just can't. And you know what I told him? Okay, thank you for coming out. God bless you. Good night.
Good night.
You know, it takes a strong man to love a strong woman. And, you know, I've even found in another relationship where I felt like I had to be less of a woman so that he could be more of a man. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a lot that we go through. When you find somebody who loves you for 100% of who you are, that's when you know, I'm going to move forward. A lot of women settle. They just settle for whatever. I don't know what it is. But, you know, I've settled before. We all have settled before. But, I mean, with my husband and myself, there's just no settling. It's amazing. It really is amazing. And I tell people all the time, the grass really is greener on the other side. We didn't necessarily have examples of beautiful marriages when we were growing up. And it was something that I wasn't interested in, you know. But
here it is.
there it is.
It just happens.
It's incredible, because sometimes you feel like you can't do something if you don't see it, right? Like part of being able to grow as your own person is seeing examples of what, you know, so and so is a doctor, or so and so is a good relationship, or whatever. And I think that sometimes I feel I fall fall victim to like, well, I don't know. And it takes a certain level of strength in yourself and in yourself as a couple to be like, well, we don't know what this looks like or what right looks like, but we know that we have it in us to be right.
Right. You know what works for you. Right.
We know how to, like, just because we haven't seen it and we don't have examples doesn't mean that we can't be great.
Right. And we're two very strong people, which in the relationship, that's kind of like a recipe for disaster. But we don't mind being submissive to each other. And I think that's, huge.
People submissive is such a trigger word.
No, I know it is. And that's why I said it, because it's okay. Yeah. It's okay to be a strong woman and be submissive for your man. I was talking to a cousin of mine who's married. He's been with his woman for over 20 years and they just recently got married a few years ago. And he would, they would argue and he would, be frustrated and, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And I said, if you don't do it for the woman that you love, for your wife, then who would you do it for? Are you going to be, this way for somebody less than that?
Yeah.
It's okay to be submissive.
I guess the question would be, what exactly is she asking you to do?
Well,
because you're not married. It's because you're not married.
Because, it's like, all right, I'm gonna bring it there.
Okay.
If you my wife, and we've been together for 20 years, and for 20 years you never stuck your finger in my butt, and that's what you want to do, and I'm like, no, sweetie, we can't do that. It depends. It really depends. But again, that goes back to communication.
Right.
And saying, this is what I don't like.
Right.
This is what I do like. Is there a middle ground?
No, let me listen.
And that's such a black and white issue.
No, it gets gray. It gets gray. No, but we've talked about everything from threesomes to cats in the bag. I don't know.
Right.
It's just you can't shy away from things like this. This is the game called life. You don't get do-overs. So you just want to be sure that the person you're spending the rest of your life with is going to be comfortable for the rest of your life. But my husband could never get bored anyway because I'm just...
She crazy.
Yeah.
And do you think, like, speaking to what Tom said, like, do you think that there is ways to find, because that scenario, right, that hypothetical, that sounds really real to me, is black or white. Like, either you like fingers in the butt or you don't, right? Like, it's black or white. How do you and your husband, like, manage those things? Because, like, there's some things that are just, like, hard nose for me. Maybe not me. Like, I'm not gonna say. I'm just saying, like,
let's not talk about me.
Might be a hard no. I'm just saying, might be a hard no.
James,
like,
let me find out.
First of all, it's unfair because you work with him. But, like, might be a hard no. I don't want to have a threesome. Oh, but I really wish I could have a threesome. Like, how do you guys navigate those conversations? Because it's one thing to say we talk about a lot of things, but how do you actually come to a decision? Because, like, sex, like, we're talking about sex, even though we haven't said sex, but we're talking about sex, and we're talking about all the different things that means, right? Not just sex, but, like, all of the things that means intimacy and that part of a marriage. And how do you have the conversation and come to, like, I don't know if it's called an agreement, but, like, how do you come to a point where you guys can agree on, yes, we're going to do that thing you want to do, or we're going to compromise in this way? Like, do you guys have a way that you do that?
Well, like you said, this is 2019 now. So, I mean, when we got together, it was already the turn of the century. So, sex kind of comes before marriage.
Yeah.
So we've had those conversations before we decided to spend the rest of our lives with each other. That's just how it works. So we knew that based on our conversations and the things that he liked and I liked and we didn't like, that we were going to be able to move forward and spend the rest of our lives together, So for people who are not married and not in that situation, and they're...
Or just not comfortable with, like, when you said that and you're talking about, like, turn of century, I was like, maybe if I was uncomfortable with something, I might be comfortable with texting it. Hey, I didn't really like it when you tried to put your finger in my butt. Like, send.
I love it how we keep going back to the finger in the butt.
I know.
Like, it's an easy one. It's an easy, clear one.
No, but we've written letters before. We have different ways. We have different ways of communication.
I'm talking practical. I mean, people are listening, and I want to give practical tips.
Listen,
okay?
Listen, I'm not afraid to give my life to the public. Okay, I don't have anything.
Me
to
neither.
hide.
Apparently,
right. So So no, we've written each other letters. We text. We go to our corners and then we talk. But if there's like one, I can't do yelling. I just in no way. I don't like loud TVs. I asked you to turn my headphones down. I just can't. Even, when I was working with the children, when they come, Miss Ebony, I go, I can't hear you if you yell. I can't hear you if you yell. So they already knew how to approach me.
Right.
So that's just, you have to, have some type of working situation where people know how they need to be approached. And my husband is very passionate like myself. And even though it doesn't show all the time with him, it shows all the time with me. But he'll get passionate when he cares deeply about something or he has a point to get across. So his voice will go up and I'll go, you're yelling. I can't. Babe, don't yell. I can't. All I hear is like a rock band or something like Teen Spirit. I just can't. I cannot.
Right.
So he knows that if he wants to break through, that he's got to find a way to take it down because I can't. But if we ever come to like, okay, well, I'm on a planet by myself. You're not here. You took a spaceship and you're gone. Then I'll take a ride or he'll take a ride. But when we come back together, it's like, oh my God, I missed you and I love you. And I was gone for an hour and
right.
What are we going to do? We can't be separated for an hour and mad at each other.
I know. I'm always mad until I hear there's like a certain tone in my husband's voice that I'm just like, oh, wait, I went too far. No, I'm kidding. I didn't mean it. No, bring it back. Bring it back. I don't know how to bring it back. I thought I was right, but I take it back.
No, but I had to learn to be submissive, being strong. But what helps though is that I never ever want to see him hurt. Like I can't hurt him. So if I see that he's hurt in any kind of way, I'm like, okay, no, that's not my job. It's just not my job. And so we have to fix it. I have to fix it or something. And to remind him and to remind each other that we're always on the same team. A lot of times when there's a difference or some sort of confrontation or friction, it's like, I'm team A and you're team B. And it's like, no, we're on the same team. Whatever we're up against is over there. So I think that helps a lot. And we have grew to that. So,
well, a lot of people, one of the most important things that we need to realize when you're in a relationship that being submissive and being subservient are two different things.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
So the sheer notion of being submissive doesn't mean that you give total control. It just means that you are comfortable enough and you trust your partner enough to be able to let him take the wheel. Like when we say Jesus take the wheel, we give our Lord unquestionable control of our spirit. And when you're with someone that you love and that you trust, being submissive can be quite liberating in a sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something that we talked about when we first started dating. We said to each other, I can remember we were pulling into the driveway and I said to him, 99.9 is a radio station. So I get 100%. So what do you want to do? Because we both came from some terrible situations. And I said, you want to do something crazy? Like, you want to like love each other completely, like totally? And he was like, let's do it. And I swear to you, the conversation was just like that. And once we had that conversation, everything was in. We were both all in. And that's just how we lived our life. Everything is just all in.
Well, I love the way that you talk about him and the way that because we used to work together, so I know the way that you talk in general. Sometimes people are afraid to give compliments to other people or to, like humble brag. I don't know if it's quite humble brag, but to brag on people. And I think that sometimes the idea of bragging is negative, right? Bragging is a negative term.
Right.
It's not a positive term. But the way that you do it, and I hear you talk about your husband, which is an extension of how I hear you talk about people. Like it's part of who you are. You're just like easy with the compliments, easy with the positive is an important lesson for I think all of us to learn that if you're not going to be the number one fan of your spouse, significant other, whoever,
Right.
then who is?
Right.
And if you're not
Absolutely.
going to be the one screaming it from the mountaintops, who is?
Right. You need to be with somebody who is like that. I mean, everybody does, but I think, everybody just really wants to be heard, whether it's, on a microphone or just from the person that they're sitting next to. So who better to, hear you than the person that you share your bed with?
Yeah.
One thing I think is a no-no is sleeping with the enemy. My husband and I early on,
Ooh.
seriously,
Very Sharon Stone, but go ahead. I'm listening.
crush your legs, honey. So one of the things we talked about early on was, I never want to hear anything in the street that you can tell me. So let me know. I need to know. We would go out and he would be like, oh, I slept with her. And I would be like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But she can't come to me and say, oh, I slept with him. Because I'll be like, I know. You understand what I'm saying?
Diffuses
And
the
that's
whole,
why you're over there.
right,
Exactly.
and puts you in a position of being able to manage that
It
situation.
puts me in a position of being who I am.
Right.
The queen.
And having power.
Okay? Royalty. Period. End of story. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Even if you were drag racing with your friends on the highway, don't let nobody call me and say, did I just see that BMW go by? Come home and be like, okay, so I know you don't like it, but I was drag racing. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like, I think it's dangerous to leave weapons laying around. Don't let anybody come shooting at me
Lord.
when you could just unload your clip and tell me what time it is.
Right.
It goes both ways, so.
That's amazing. And so the last thing I want to talk about a little bit is, again, I know you and I know how your personality is magnetic, right? People cling to you. I'm happy to be around you.
I miss you too.
I know. I miss you it's been like 2 years already.
Yeah.
I can't even
I've
believe
been
it.
sitting next to her for like the little part of an hour, and I'm already ready to be like, all right, you can go. She won't stick
I'ma
around for a hot
stay.
minute. We need to have a conversation.
Thank
This
you
is awesome.
guys. Thank you.
Seriously.
Absolutely. So people cling to you. And I know, again, because I know you, I know that people come to you. People, younger people you mentor, people you help take care of, adults you talked about earlier coming to the house and making them feel better, right? How do you make sure that you save enough when you're giving so much to everyone around? How do you make sure that you save enough for him? And do you ever find, or like, do you ever find that does he ever say, hey, I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm feeling like I don't have enough. I'm not getting enough. And how do you keep him feeling like he's still number one, even though I should say again, he's still number one, all the while you're able to also help take care of these other people?
We had to come to that because I've always helped other people and always spread myself thin with everyone. We both have big families, come from big families, and anybody who is not my family by blood, like we just come from a close-knit community, so we have a lot of extended cousins and that kind of thing, and I've always been that person. It just doesn't matter if you're older or whatever, people just come to me. It's been my whole life. And him too. And his family and his individual life, it was like that. So there was one time when we realized that it was happening because we were just living our lives. This is what we've always done separately, and we've done it when we got together. We just started supporting each other, supporting other people. And I used to always say, I found somebody who loves like me. And it was beautiful that the way I love on children and people in my community and my family and my friends, he did the same with his family and friends and children, and then we did it together. So it was so dope. But it got like after years, other people's situations started to wear us down individually. And when you're wore down individually, it affects whatever situation you have going on or whatever relationship that you're attached to. And we didn't realize it until we had an argument one night, and then I drove, and I don't know where he went because I left. But he called me and he said, meet me at the basketball court. And so I couldn't refuse, because I like to play basketball.
Loving basketball.
So I was like, damn, he gonna pull that one out.
You see what I'm saying? Everything gets resolved with balls. That's all I gotta say. Keep that in mind, y'all.
So So I mean, he mentioned balls, and I couldn't resist.
Right. Most of us can't.
So I met him at the basketball court, and we start shooting around, and he's venting, and I'm venting, and we couldn't really come to a resolution at the basketball court. But by the time we got home,
balls worked.
the balls worked. But what we decided, the epiphany was that we realized that we were each other's light. And so when we look at each other and we're focused on each other, we're always in the light. It's always beautiful and sunny and, just an amazing place to be when we're focused on each other. And when we were getting pulled in all of these directions, I got, my head would turn and I would be distracted from
out of the light.
And I got further away from the light. And that's when things got really difficult. And so we both realized that simultaneously. And it was the most beautiful night other than our wedding, because it was like we fell back so deep in love. And we're still riding that wave. And I think it's because we've come to that realization that we came together and helped each other in such a way and made each other better. And whenever, whatever, or whoever we may be dealing with or helping is pulling us away from each other, that it's something that we have to do it a different way or find a different way to do it, because we have to keep each other first. He is my heaven on earth. Like, even my lowest lows, I never hit the ground because of him. He makes everything better. The very, very worst situation better. I feel it. I feel a breeze of it. It doesn't knock me down, and it's because of him. And somebody like that, you just have to treat that way. Even in the worst circumstances, even when you're upset, you just have to, it's like if you have this $20,000 Hermes bag, I'm not going to throw it in the back of the car like I do my $2,000 Gucci bags. It's just, you just treat it differently. You just treat it, I know, sorry, pardon me, but you just treat it differently. So, with that being said, people should just remember why they decided to love each other. And I think if you can remember why you decided to love each other, you will continue to stay in love. And if you're not, you will respect each other enough to say, I love you so much that I need to be honest with you and tell you the truth. And it's not where it was before. So.
Wow.
And I think being able to navigate the distortions of life in itself and being able to keep a focus on what you have rather than what you're searching for or what's trying to obstruct what you have. I think it's also important to recognize that that if you see distortion, you hear distortion, feel distortion, to recognize it's there and somehow find your way back to that point where you guys are completely inseparable. Right.
Also, the things that you don't really like about each other, if he tells me something that he doesn't like, right, I'll look into myself. And I'll say, you know what? That's not good for me. So it can't be good for us. So we can't say, all right, I'm changing it tonight. 12 o'clock, you're never going to see it again, like as if it's a new year. But we do say, I promise you, I will try to work on it. And eventually, a lot of times it disappears, because you're aware. So you change it, and it betters you as a person, and it betters your relationship.
Girl, this is deep.
I love it.
Deep.
I knew.
I gotta find me a basketball court and basketballs.
You gotta find you a him
and a partner first, right? And
you gotta find first. You a D.
Like, seriously.
I love it. I knew this was gonna be a good conversation, but I'm overwhelmed by how good it was. Aww. And I thought it was just gonna be about sex, but hey, like, it definitely isn't.
I mean, but we talked about balls.
We did talk about balls, but that's the point.
and buttholes,
right? But that's the truth of the matter, is that in marriage, intimacy is more than sex, and it includes it. It includes wigs on lampshades. Okay,
absolutely.
It has to include it, but it also has to include these other come to Jesus moments, like come to me moments.
Let me just say, the wigs on the lampshades kind of intimacy comes from all the other intimacy. it's easy for the wig to end up on a lampshade. Okay, any lampshade, anywhere.
Anytime,
okay,
any place,
it might not
anywhere.
be no lamps. You never know. It might be a sidewalk. You know what I'm saying? But when all the other things are intimate, there's just no telling, where the wig might end up, and that's another thing. Ladies have to, I think that once you're comfortable in being yourself and being this girl, that you can just wear wigs and you can try different colors and you can be fun, and that keeps your husband, or even, men, try different colors and shape up your beard and all the stuff that you can do, and make your woman just say, wow, look at you, check you out, try different colognes. My husband loves the smell of cologne, and every time he leaves me in the morning and I get my ritual kiss on the forehead, I always smell him when he's gone.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love it.
I do.
Honey. Yeah.
I love it. I'm so glad you came. I'm so glad we had this conversation. I feel like I took a lot from it. I saw a lot of people who were watching the live stream. Thanks for tuning in. And people that I know. I'm so excited that we know some of the same people.
Yes.
And so I know those people. Shout out to Cherie and to Shinika.
Hi, sissy.
And who've been on who've been watching the whole time. I'm so glad that you came, and thank you so much for sharing her with us for the night. It's been incredible. I feel like this saved me. I talk a lot about going to therapy. I feel like this saved me maybe one therapy session.
I would say 2.
Maybe 2.
And then if you go to the basketball court, maybe 3.
Maybe.
So before we go, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but Candace usually does a hashtag Mom So Hard tip of the week. And I feel that we got caught up in the love that you guys have for each other. And that's amazing. But you also have children together.
Yes.
You have your own children. He has his, and together you created this amazing nucleus of a family. If you have a tip for the mothers out there, maybe we should give it to her.
Families.
Tell us a little bit about how you manage to bring both families together, and what your tip is for them to be able to manage a family of that size, and especially when the family is not, how would I say,
when they're blended,
when it's a blended family.
What's your tip?
I feel very strongly about this because I'm the product of it, and now I host a family like this, so I'm producing it. So what I have to say is, for anybody who has a blended family situation on both parts, the husband's baby mother's ex-wife, whatever, and the wife's husband, baby mamas, or whatever, you matter very little because there are children involved. So please, I urge you to take yourself out of it and focus on what is going to be the best situation for the children. Remember that they hear everything and they see everything. And even if you are trying to be positive, but you're really not, they're going to pick up on that. So if you just put the kids first and say, well, now you got 2 dads, or now you got 2 moms. I mean, that's more people to buy the cars when they're 16. You know what I'm saying? The kids don't care. Children love everybody. And you need to encourage that and nurture that when it comes to the children. And a lot of times children bring adults together. When they have a focal point and everybody wants the best for a child, everybody kind of seems to become a family. So we're still working on that in aspects of our previous relationships and lives, but our children are together, and that's what matters the most. Everybody else can just come along, and I hope that it gets to that point. I'm a very positive person, if you haven't picked it up yet. So, just a regular talking to with me can settle just about anything. And I think that that's important when it comes to people coming together. You're bringing yourself into a situation with other people. So come in peace and put the children first.
Come in peace and put the
I
kids
cannot
first.
think of a better hashtag Mom So Hard
Lord,
tip of the week.
It is church in here tonight.
Amen.
Church on Thursday. I love it. Well, Ebony, thank you so much. Thank you so much for
You're
coming
welcome.
on
Thank
the
you
show.
for having me.
Absolutely. Sharing such personal things with us, with our listeners. Thank you for sharing your time, and thank you for being a friend. It's been a couple of years, and I'm super, I'm like one of your fans, right? One of those people who just sort of like comes, you don't even know. It's like, I didn't mean to be over here, but I'm over here. Ebony, what's going on with you?
Candy, you're dope too, okay?
Thank you.
Yes, you're beautiful, and you mom so hard, and you have these boys, and you're raising them so well, and you meal prep for crying out loud. And you're so sensible. And, I admire you a lot. So it's just two women who admire each other. And I'm glad we came together tonight to talk.
There's
absolutely.
so much love in this room.
So much love. I know somebody else says, these bitches, I hate them. So happy all the time.
Shout out to y'all.
You just gotta love on them
You just gotta love on them too.
Oh my God. So you are welcome here anytime, you too, if you ever want to come on the mic. Bayboo.
Yeah, I think we should get a Bayboo Boobay perspective at some point.
Shout out to the love of my life.
Yes, but you're welcome anytime to come back and talk about apparently anything. Anything we can talk about.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's wrap up.
All right.
Okay, so we already did Mom So Hard tip. I can't top. I can't top Come Together in Peace, right?
Yeah.
For the kids. Like, I can't top that. So, I just want to say thank you to everyone. It's the first show of the year.
That's right.
2019. I'm so excited for the year ahead. I've got some like crazy ideas in my head of things that I want to talk about and people that I'm reaching out to come on the show. So definitely tune in over the next several. I plan to be here forever as long as Tom will have me.
I'll lock her up in the basement
right?
at some point. Or maybe we can just take a walk to like the basketball court and hash it out.
Right.
Just throw the balls in there.
Oh my God, balls everywhere. Anyway, I'm so excited for 2019, and I wanted to say that I didn't feel like doing New Year's resolutions, but I think it has been a thing in the last couple of years that people pick a word, right? Like people pick a word that's going to be like your word for the year, and something I did want to share for my 2019 unresolution, right, is that I'm planning to commit this year. I feel like this often I'm like, I don't know how I feel. Call me in the morning. We'll talk about it in the morning and see if we can do it, whatever the thing is. And I just want to put a stake in the ground, kind of like we did with the show. I didn't know where we were going with the show. I didn't know what I was going to talk about, who was going to listen, who was going to be here, or what it was going to be about, right? Like I had no idea, but it was something that I wanted to do. And I feel like I committed to it, and it has brought me so much joy. And thankfully and excitedly, it has also made a difference to some other people too. So I just want to extend that into the 2019. And so for me, my word for the year is to commit. And I wanted to share that with everyone. If there's something that you are trying to figure out for the year, just like fucking do it. Like it is okay to change your mind. And I will say honestly that I almost didn't want to use this word because I'm like, well, I have a right to change my mind. Maybe I don't want to do it. Maybe I don't want to go there. Maybe I don't want to, but it doesn't change, right? There's freedom in submission. There's freedom in committing to something and being able to, with good intention and all the information, change your mind later, but you can still commit to something and you will be better for it.
It's important. It's important.
It's really important. And that is to yourself. Commit to yourself and commit to your person, whoever your spouse is.
And before I forget, my husband and I are committing to doing something beautiful this year. We are going to start something called Oh Honey Love.
Okay.
And so it's all about love, and I'll leave it there, but just be on the lookout for it. We decided to do something together, and what else do we do better together than love? So yeah, so just look out for Oh Honey Love in 2019.
Yeah, and let us know about it, and we will share it so people hear it.
Or you can both come back on the show
and talk about it.
We'd be happy to. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool. So I think that's it for me.
All right. Well, send it home.
What do I usually say?
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God. This show is produced by Tom Ortiz at Digital Stream Radio. It's available for download on Podbean. Follow us at Facebook at Breezy Moms Podcast or email us at breezymomspodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, don't stress, just breathe.